Walking, standing, sitting, lying down, and breathing. Imagine all you had to do is walk. You don't have to walk forever. There's a context to this walking. You know why you left, and there will be something that you can do different when you get to where you're going. It's not aimlessly walking necessarily. Maybe it could be aimlessly walking, but it's walking in context. It's not too far. You're not tired. You're just walking. Can you be happy? Can you be happy just walking? Imagine all you have to do is stand. Not for a long time, maybe just 2 or 3 minutes. You're waiting, you know what you're waiting for, and you're just standing. There's nothing else that needs to be done at this moment by you. Could you be happy just standing? Imagine all you have to do is sit, maybe for 20 minutes. You don't even have to sit. You can get up if you like, but you don't have anything else that has to be done, and you're sitting. Maybe 20 minutes is too long for you. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 30 seconds. Could you be happy? Could you be at peace? Just sitting. How about lying down? Maybe it's for 2 or 3 minutes at the end of a vigorous workout just to catch your breath. Maybe it is for 20 minutes in the middle of the day. Maybe it's for a half an hour until you fall asleep in bed at night. Maybe it's a few minutes before you wake up in the morning. Can you be happy just lying down? Or breathing. Can you be happy if all you had to do was breathe? And if all you were doing was breathing, could you be happy? Could you be at peace? And with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to think about your life, the experience of it, and the cycles of it, the daily cycles, the weekly cycles, the monthly cycles, the yearly cycles. Maybe you have cycles that last for 2 weeks. Maybe you have cycles that last for 7 or 12 years. All of the different cycles and the way your life is and the experience of it. How's your life? And then I'd like to invite you to do something that I don't normally recommend. I'd like you to go ahead and judge your life. Judge it. Is it good? Is it bad? Maybe you can grade it on an A through F scale, or maybe you can give it a 1 through 10. And you're like, yeah, my life's about a 7 right now. It's pretty good. Could be better. Maybe it's a D minus. Maybe you're not sure how you're going to make it through the week. Maybe it's an A plus. Maybe it's a 10. Maybe everything's been going great for you. Wherever it is, decide how you feel about your life. For a moment, you can always drop the judgment after we're done here, but if you will, go ahead and make a judgment lightly so that you can drop it later and decide how you feel about your life. Let's sit in this for a moment, thinking about my life, thinking about the cycles of it, thinking about how good it is, how much better I'd like it to be, maybe how much worse it is than the way I'd like it to be, or how good it is. What grade do I give my life? The quality of the experience. How much do I like it? How proud am I of it? How happy am I with it? Now, I'm going to ask you a kind of silly question. Does your current experience in your life with the cycles, does it involve some amount of walking? Does it involve any amount of standing, sitting, lying down, and breathing? I'm going to guess that it does involve some breathing, and it probably involves a lot of the rest of it. Now, I'd like you to imagine how it would be if your life went horribly, horribly wrong. Let's say for the next 6 months or 5 years or however long it would take to really wreck your life, you just made the worst decisions possible. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed every day, did not do anything to make it better, chose what was expedient over what was necessary, just cut corners and, hit the pleasure button as often as possible, didn't save up, didn't take care of your body, didn't maintain your relationships, just had the worst luck possible and made the worst decisions. And with that combination of your environment and your choices, just the worst life that you could reasonably imagine happening. And you really end up in a bad spot. I don't get too emotionally sucked into this fantasy. This is another thing that I don't normally recommend. But I'm going to guide you through this, and hopefully it will come out the other side in one piece. Don't get too emotionally attached to it, but imagine it. Try to keep it mostly in a mental space. Don't feel it too much, and if it gets too intense, then just back out, come back to the present. But do, if you can, to the degree that you can, do imagine your life going horribly wrong. How is it? How is this fantasy, this awful fantasy life, this nightmare of a life? How is it? It's an F. Like, it's a 1. It's an F. It's gotten as bad as we can imagine without it killing us. Okay, you're not allowed to die in this fantasy. You have to stay alive. There are many things worse than death, and all of them involve being alive, and that's where you're at. Now, same question. Would this nightmare of an experience be 24/7 nightmare? Or would there be times when you were just walking, just standing, just sitting, just lying down, just breathing? Come back to the present. Come back to your life as it is, with its cycles and its experience and your judgment of it, and how good it is or isn't, how much better you would like it to be. I'm sorry, this camera angle is bothering me because I have decided to slouch and now it is too high. Now I'm happy. See, I've just moved my life from a B plus to an A minus with a simple adjustment of the camera. That's what it takes to make me happy these days. Not much. Anyway, where was I? Right. Come back to your life. Come back to your judgment of your life, where you're at with it. And now let's move into the future again. But this time, let's imagine that you have the best luck possible. The best luck you can reasonably imagine, and you make the best decisions. That thing that you say that you should do, you do it. Whether it's a workout or practicing your instrument or, taking that course or asking that question, whether it be to a romantic partner or a business relationship, that thing that you want to get around to, you get around to it, and you just have the best luck. The things that you don't know how you're going to do, solutions show up. You get up on the right side of the bed, you have a good attitude, your food tastes great, you just have the best luck and you make the best decisions, and these two forces of environment and choice work together to just create a paradise, the best life you could reasonably imagine. Maybe it takes 6 months, maybe it takes 5 years. I don't know how far you are from the life of your dreams time wise, but let's say you get there. Imagine it for a minute. What's it like? What is this fantasy paradise of a life like? How does it feel? You can feel into this one as much as you like. I don't imagine it's going to make you have a panic attack, but if it does, come back to the moment. Airplane. Anyway, fantasy life. How does it feel? Now, same question. Does it involve some walking, some standing, some lying down, some sitting, and some breathing? Definitely going to involve some breathing, right? Probably going to involve some walking, some standing, some sitting, some lying down. So what? What I am proposing is that most of human experience involves these things. Most of human experience involves these things. It involves walking. It involves standing, sitting, lying down, and breathing. And if you can learn to be happy when you're walking, and if you can learn to be happy when you're standing, sitting, lying down, and breathing, then you'd be happy, at least when those things are going on. Now, the only way that that happens is if you live in the moment. And so, in the moment that you're just walking from point A to point B, maybe you're walking from your cell to the dining facility in prison, but you're just walking. Maybe you're walking down the hallway to your corner office where you're CEO of a company, but you're just walking. Maybe you're walking a forest path, but you're just walking. In any case, you can be happy just walking if you can be in the moment. Now, if you're thinking about what's going to happen in the dining facility in prison, you're not going to be likely very happy unless it's just the best prison. But either way, it's not going to be possible to live in the moment unless you have dealt with the past and the future. See, this is the mistake that a lot of people make. They think that they can just live in the moment, and so they have an aversion to the past and an aversion to the future, and they live in the moment and they wonder why it doesn't work. Because as soon as you try to push something away, it's got you just as much as if you were trying to grasp at it. And so, if you are attempting to live in the moment and the past is coming up and troubling you, you need to make peace with the past. You need to learn from your mistakes and integrate that knowledge, and then it can go away. Or you need to figure out why the memory bothers you. And a lot of times it is simply that there's a part of your mind that knows you took damage and wants to figure out how to avoid taking that same kind of damage in the future. And it might be as simple as, oh, well, that happened to me when I was 4 years old and I was little, and that's the only reason that it happened. If somebody tried to do that to me now, they couldn't, because I'm big and you can't do that kind of thing to me. So you may just have to go through the memory and say, hey, I'm too large for that type of thing to happen to anymore. And then it goes away just like that. Or it may be more complicated, but this isn't intended to be a video about how to deal with traumatic memories. I just wanted to make the point that if you let go of the past and the past does not let go of you, trying to push it away is not going to work. You may have to dig in and deal with it. The same goes for the future in a slightly different way. If you have worries about the future and you just go, la la la, la la la, I'm not going to think about the things that are going to happen to me bad in the future because I'm not taking care of the problems that I know are building up. It's not working. Part of your attention is on that thing that you're pretending to ignore. For one, you're not really in the moment because part of you is worried about the future and you're just pretending like you're not worried about the future, but you can still feel it in the increased heart rate and, the blood pressure, the upset stomach and the, tense muscles and the headaches. Like, you're aware of the future. Sorry, cat's out of the bag. So you're going to have to deal with that. Now, if you can let go of the future or the past and it just goes, great. Fantastic. Like, feel free to try it. Sometimes you'll let go and it'll just go away. And forgetting is a wonderful thing. There are many things that you've forgotten because you don't need that information. What did you eat for lunch the second Tuesday of second grade? I don't know either because it wasn't anything that I needed to learn from that situation that I didn't learn. So I don't need to process that memory. It's gone. So make peace with the past. Make a plan for the future. In order to make a plan for the future, you're going to need to figure out what you want. It is a lot easier to satisfy your desires than it is to renounce them. Now, again, if you want to let go of desires, go for it. But it's easier to get them than it is to decide that you don't want them. That is my opinion. So figure out what you want, make a plan for how to get there. Once you've done that, you've made past with the peace. You made peace with the past, you made a plan for the future. Now you can let them both go. You can give them up to your subconscious mind. You can give them to God. You can give them to the angels, the fairies, or the aliens. You can give them to the voices in your head. You can give them to your next door neighbor. You can give them to your subconscious mind, and then you can come back to the moment and just do what you need to do. And then if that confusion comes up, which is a feeling really more than it is a mental state, if the feeling of confusion when you don't know what to do comes up, then stop and think. Stop acting and think. And when you think, just think. And when you're acting, just act. And so maybe you don't have time for that. Maybe right now you're a hamster running on the wheel and you just have to act all the time. And so you're going to have to do your thinking on your toes. But eventually you'll figure out how to carve out some time for yourself to just think. And when you do, your thinking becomes much more efficient, much more clear. You have much better ideas when you think and just think. And then you act and just act. So make peace with the past, make a plan for the future, live in the moment, do what you need to do, so that when you're sitting, whether you're sitting on a throne or a stump in the woods or a seat in an airplane or an electric chair, you'll just be sitting. Some of these things are harder to drop the story about than others, but if you develop this skill to a high enough level, you've made your plan for the future and you've made your peace with the past, you could sit in an electric chair and you could just be sitting because they haven't thrown the switch yet. And you'll sit and you'll just sit and be happy. Crazy. It's crazy, but I think it could happen. So what am I proposing? I'm proposing that you learn to live in the moment by making peace with the past and by making a plan for the future. I'm proposing that 90% or more of human experience for most people is going to involve walking, standing, sitting, lying down, and breathing. I'm proposing that you learn how to be happy just doing those things so that no matter how bad it gets, when you are walking, you can drop your story, live in the moment, and just be walking, and you have learned to be happy while walking. And no matter how bad it gets, you know that you're going to be walking at some point. You're going to be walking. You may be walking to the gallows, but you'll be walking. And if you've learned to be happy just walking, and if you've learned to just walk when you're walking, then you can be happy walking to the gallows because you're not walking to the gallows, you're just walking. When you're at the gallows, you'll be at the gallows. And then that's a whole other video about how to be happy there, man. But in the meantime, most of your experience, no matter how good your life goes, how bad your life goes, is going to involve walking, standing, sitting, lying down, and breathing. And so learn how to be happy when you're doing those things. I'll go ahead and drop the judgment that you formed about your life earlier when I asked you to. Forget about that and just stop thinking that it's a good life or a bad life and just realize that it is what it is. It's a mixed bag of sensations, and you're the only judge that decides whether any of those sensations are good or bad. And just, they call it the breeze, but what is it? And then don't answer that question in words. Feel the breeze, man. Listen to it. Feel it on your skin. Don't label it. Don't make words for it. Just say, call it a wall, but what is it? And then experience the wall. Experience things in that nonverbal space. So, learn to be happy. Walking, standing, sitting, lying down, and breathing.